Hello, and welcome to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. I am your host, Donny Coram, and this is the show where we discuss how to find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a foreclosure deal right here in the Colorado market with investors all over the country actually doing deals instead of talking about it. Listen, guys, there are a lot of gurus out there in the real estate education industry, and I'm not knocking gurus. The reality is most people start their real estate investment journey with education. But today, I want to make this an open forum. I want to answer your questions about real estate investing. And if you're commenting wherever you happen to be, we've got some viewers already. Please hop in, ask your questions, and etc. Want to try to keep this as open forum as possible because I think when people are starting their journey with education, they don't, or maybe they forget to realize that education without action is in and of itself not valuable. Here's an example of that, right? Let's say you were looking to get your pilot's license, and I use this example a lot, and you read a bunch of books on getting your pilot's license, and you are learning about the plane, and you even hang out with the plane. You walk around a plane, much like we're all in a house right now or some kind of structure right now. So you're familiar with the process. At the time it becomes to actually take off and utilize that plane to do what it's going to do, you're going to want a flight instructor. The theory of doing real estate investing is not going to be sufficient. Am I right? Well, that's very much true with real estate investing. See, you can learn a lot of stuff about investing, and there's a lot of information out there. There are countless books. There are courses out there. I have a course myself, the 5 F's of Foreclosure Investment System course, which I offer very cost effectively because I believe that education should be accessible to everybody, right? We're not all cut out to be doctors, so you may not necessarily going to go to medical school, but as far as how real estate education works, I think it should be accessible to everybody. The transition point is going from the education or the theory about real estate investing to the actual practice. And I built my entire business, the foreclosure deals coaching system, or really the foreclosure profit system, as I'm calling it now, where I can help you to find the deal. I can help you to analyze or figure the deal. I can help you to fund the deal, as I'm a hard money broker myself. I can help you to fix the deal using my list of contractors and my operations management team. And then I can help you to flip the deal at a substantial discount from retail using my team agent. The net result is you're walking away with a profit of a minimum of $25,000 is the target. But the real goal here is to develop a system where you can continue to do this over and over and over again, and then use the income you're making from foreclosure flipping to supplement other aspects of your life. What other aspects? Well, if reducing debt is what you need to get done because you've got too much debt, you can use flipping to pay down debt, right? If you're looking to expand or open a different business, right? You're going to need capital to do that. You could borrow the money to do that, you get a business loan, etc., or you could flip your way into the capital you need to open that business. Right? If your desire is to buy more passive investment vehicles, i.e. rentals primarily, right? Or Airbnbs, etc., you're going to want to utilize the money you make from flipping to do that. What you don't want to do is what I did, which is keep plowing money back into your flipping business and growing it to massive proportions, where at my peak, believe it or not, I did 47 flips in a year. It was incredible financially, but flipping is a very heavy yield business. Somebody actually posted in one of my videos that flipping is a job, not an investment. And that's quite true. Flipping is another job. However, when you do it with my system, we take the heavy lifting off of you so it becomes an investment because you can do this virtually and passively because we're carrying all the major parts for you. What major parts? Well, the biggest major part is locating deals. See, we're in Colorado Springs, Colorado. That's where we do a lot of our deals. It's a very competitive market right now. You've got a lot of people. We were just voted number 3 top places to live by U.S. News again. And I say that as I'm rolling my eyes because, as a guy who lives here, I don't know that we want any more population growth here in Colorado Springs. I remember when I was a kid driving up Powers was like a racetrack for me, right? Like long open stretches of road with 3 or 4 lanes on either side. As a kid, we would drive faster than we should have safely back then because Powers was open to that. You can't do that anymore on Powers, right? Today, Powers is a highway with lights, and it's a royal pain to get anywhere on the Powers corridor. I-25 is backed up all the time. We are a major metropolitan district, and we're only going to continue to grow because we're a really cool place to live when the weather's like this, and we have a great, our mayor is awesome. We've got a wonderful weather most of the year, the views, etc. So we're bringing in more population. So what is an investor to do in that circumstance? Well, we have to start looking at other markets that are not so great, because we have to go into opportunity zones, if you will, where those areas are starting to come around and become better places to live. And currently, my favorite place to look at investment property is in Pueblo, Colorado. And I got to tell you, when I was starting out in the business almost 20 years ago, if you mentioned Pueblo, I put the cross again. I don't want to go to Pueblo, right? The only cool thing about Pueblo is a reservoir. We used to do a lot of boating. I had a boat with some friends many years ago. So that was the only reason we went down to Pueblo. But if you drive through Pueblo now, you're seeing a new place. You're seeing that a lot of people are moving to Pueblo right now because the prices are cheaper. And one thing we know when rates come up is that money will naturally flow to less expensive things. Why? Because you got to look at the cost effectiveness of living in a property. If you could have bought a $350,000 house and your payment would have been, I'm just throwing numbers right now, but $2,000 a month, well, at 3 or 4% interest, well, now it's at 5 to 6, even 7% interest. So that same house is now going to run you $28,000, maybe $3,000 a month, pretty easy. Okay. As a result, people are being forced economically to look at other areas. And here's the thing, that doesn't mean that Pueblo's bad or there are bad people in Pueblo. What it means is it hasn't had an attraction, a draw. That hasn't been a reason for people to volunteer to live in Pueblo. Well, there certainly is now. And the good news is we are finding deals in the Pueblo market right now for about $100,000 to $125,000. Okay. And then we are fixing those deals. We're spending a good amount of the remodel because these houses are rougher generally than they are in Colorado Springs, Colorado. They need more work. Okay. So we're spending 50, maybe 60,000 on the remodel in certain cases, all funded by the lender. Okay. So you don't have an out-of-pocket expense on that. When we get the loan, we escrow for the repairs, which means we tell the lender we're going to need $50,000 to get this remodel completed. And as long as the numbers make sense, they put that in account on the borrower's behalf. And as they're completing the project, they fund that and get that money back to them. Okay. So it's not an out-of-pocket expense. But again, we're buying for 125, let's say. We're fixing for $50,000. We're into it for 175. And a nice single family home in Pueblo, a little 3-1 perhaps, is currently selling somewhere between 225 and 250. Right? So it leaves a lot of margin. What's also powerful about Pueblo is we're looking to make $25,000 in a deal in Colorado Springs, but we got to spend between $300,000 and $400,000 to get to that $25,000. So your cost benefit on doing a deal in these entry-level markets, your return on investment is substantially higher because although the out-of-pocket's a little bit less, your return on that out-of-pocket is drastically higher because you're putting less money out. Does that make sense? Additionally, you got to remember there are carrying costs to this deal. Carrying costs are the monthly payment that you've got to make every month to cover the service on the debt. You got to figure that to be roughly 1% of the loan balance, right? So if you're borrowing $300,000, quick math on that suggests that you're going to have a $3,000 a month payment. Well, that's kind of harsh if you're sitting on that property for several months, right? However, in Pueblo, if we're buying a house for 125, same 1% math applies here. We now have a $1,200 a month payment. It's still painful, but it's half, if not even a third, of what you would spend in the same carrying cost on a house in Colorado Springs. All of this is to say that investing in emerging markets is just logical. It's inconvenient. unless you live in Pueblo. And a lot of my clients live all over the country. So they, including Colorado Springs and Denver. I don't have any clients who actually live in Pueblo right now, ironically, but we're doing a lot of deals in Pueblo because we do this virtually. It's a virtual flipping process. So no matter where you happen to be located, we manage the process. I don't want you down there swinging a hammer or wanding a paintbrush up and down to get this property in a livable condition. That sounds cool, not to me, but it sounds cool to certain people who watch flipping shows, but it's not cool. You don't want to buy another job. That's not the objective here. Okay. Instead, you are looking to invest. So I help you to manage this process beginning to end by finding deals where there are opportunities, fixing the deals to market standards, funding them using the lenders, and selling them to make that 25K profit. And I believe that anybody, including you, anybody can do this 3 to 4 times a year with relative consistency, right? Pocketing an extra $75,000 to $100,000 a year coming into your bottom line by consistently finding these deals. So why doesn't everybody do it? Well, I can tell you, if we go back to clients who have made 40, 50 grand in a flip, okay, they get a little spoiled. After that happens, the attitude becomes, well, I made 50 grand on this deal. Now I want to make 50 grand on every deal. And they start to wait for the next deal that can make 50 grand. And I'm not saying they're not out there. And I'm not saying if you can dedicate a full-time resource to locating those deals, then you won't be able to find them, because they definitely do exist. But they take more time to find, they take more time to fix, and they're generally harder to fund. Okay. However, very simple flips that make a very entry-level profit are easier to fund, much easier to find because they're everywhere, right? You have to have somebody locating them on your behalf and tying them down and negotiating with the seller to make sure that the deal is solid. That's the service the foreclosure profit system provides. That's what I can do for you as your foreclosure deals coach. Okay, so we are simply looking for consistency. We're not looking for home runs. And man, I love home runs. We did a deal, the Springs Hell House, that made the national news. In addition to the local celebrity it created for me and my wife, which was amazing, it also made us a huge profit of just over $100,000 on that deal. So that was so cool. Right? The problem is finding deals like that is extremely rare. You can't do it all the time. And when you're a newbie flipper, you really want to build that consistency because you're trying to build relationships across the board. One of those relationships are with acquisition people. There are wholesalers out there that we still work with to help us find deals. We find our own deals most of the time, but because we bought so many deals, we've got people that bring us deals. That came from doing a lot of deals, right? Analysis, like any skill set, gets better when you do it all the time. Right? So if you're only doing 2 deals a year or 1 deal a year, you're never going to get quite as effective at analysis as somebody who's doing a consistent flow of deals all the time. Funding. The lenders like to work with, you probably can guess this, experienced borrowers, right? If you're working with a hard money broker and he's got the option to lend money to somebody who watched a flipping show and wants to try this out for the first time versus somebody who's done 10, 20, 30 flips in their career, and maybe a couple this year, a couple last year, et cetera, they're far more likely to lend money to the experienced flipper. So building that experience rating over time is going to allow you to access capital at a lower rate. I'm helping you to set that system up because I am a broker. So I'm leveraging my experience when we get started to get you the best rate possible, even as a newbie, part of the thing you're paying for with the coaching. But as you get your own momentum and you get better at this, you're going to find your own lending sources. You're going to develop private money relationships, and you're going to be able to access capital because you've built a consistent business. Next up is the fixing. And I can tell you that when you're trying to fix a property, nothing is more important than the relationship with the contractors. Okay, because contractors, people like themselves. You probably heard that saying before. Contractors are no different. If they know what you want, it is far easier for them to work with you because they've done multiple flips with you. They know your style. They know the patterns. They know what you're going to buy. They're going to give you better rates because they don't have to go look for more business. And I talk to contractors all the time. And I can tell you, and if you are a contractor watching this, you can certainly relate, dealing with retail customers, people who, well, I don't know if I want the kitchen to be this color or that color, or I'm still thinking about the tile over here, or change orders are a disaster. I was in new build for years, and I got to tell you, dealing with the retail consumer on the new build side was painful to say the least, and for good reason, right? They're buying a home for their family. They need to be picky. They need to want certain things for that property. Investors are an entirely different model, are we not? We just want it to be pretty and saleable. Right? And we want it to happen quickly. So not that we're cutting corners or any of that. We want to provide a great product to the market, but we're not as focused on design. We're certainly not making design changes, right? We have a formula that we use pretty much on every house because it's what's selling, it's what's modern, it's what's in right now. And we're using that formula and applying it to house after house after house. So there are less change orders, and most of the time, no change orders. There are less moving parts because they're ordering the same things over and over again. It's predictable. So when you build that relationship with your construction crews, then you're going to have a much better result, get better pricing, things will go smoother. And then finally, flipping. It's very hard to convince a retail agent to work for a discount if they're used to making 3% on a deal and you come to them with, I want to pay you a small byproduct to that. They're going to say, nah, not for me. Why would I do that? But because we're doing so much volume, I've negotiated incredible deals with our team agents that it will do it for a number. It's so low, I don't even want to mention it here, but I can tell you this: as long as you actually do a deal with me, the cost of the coaching will be offset by the discount I've negotiated with the agent. Okay. So really the coaching is free as long as you actually do a deal. And the reason I was able to negotiate such a great rate is because I was an agent myself, and I understand the agent mentality, which is they would rather operate on volume. They would rather do multiple deals with the same client as opposed to one deal with one client who might buy a house every 5 to 7 years, and he's got to maintain and cultivate that relationship for 5 to 7 years with the hope that down the road their cousin or aunt doesn't get a real estate license and they end up moving that listing to somebody else. In the investor world, we can negotiate much better rates out of the gate because we can offer them, in my case, 40 to 50 listings per year that pay a small percentage compared to what they would make on retail, but it's predictable income. It's a predictable clientele who just wants it sold. The houses are generally vacant, so it's all easier. The net result of the foreclosure profit system, okay, is I've taken all the problems out of you deciding you want to fix and flip a property. Where are you going to find the house? Got it. How do you analyze the house confidently? Done. How do we fund the house? Lenders are on standby, right? How do we fix the house? Contractors available. How do we sell the house and keep more of the profit? I've got the agents to do it. Okay. So if you are serious about actually doing a real estate investment deal, the problem I face a lot of times is a lot of my clients or would-be clients come in looking for education. They want me to teach them what I know. And I'm not against that. I do this podcast as an education source. I have other things that I have my course that I offer for very inexpensively because I'm happy to provide my education to you. But I'll be frank with you and say that there isn't as much money in education anymore. Okay, there's so much information out there in the real estate space that education and learning as much as you can about this is simply not going to get you the results that you're looking for. What you really want, if you are truly wanting to do this, is to do deals. You've got to do deals. And that seems very obvious when I say it to you, but until all these processes in place, you as a newbie, especially with a newbie who's got a day job and a family and other ways that you produce an income and other things you just want to be doing all day, it gets very difficult to do deals consistently with all those other pieces. This program, what I offer to you as your coach, is solving that problem on your behalf and making it easier for you to get involved and start doing deals. Okay, so that's what this is about. And I am looking for 50 clients here in the local market where I just signed client number 36. Okay, and not all the clients are active. So I'm not saying I've only got 14 spaces left, but I am saying when I get to 50 people who are actively doing deals in this marketplace, I will be looking for clients in a different marketplace. I have a huge desire to get the heck out of here. I love it here in the summer, by the way. Summer is amazing. Yesterday, for instance, if you guys were around in Colorado Springs, what did we hit? 90? Yesterday for the first time in all year. It was so warm. It was amazing. I had my Bronco out, had the top down on the Bronco. I was living it up. I love it here in the spring and summertime, but I'm not a winter sports guy. right? Not really into that. So come winter, real estate slows down and life kind of slows down. And for me anyway, it's like waiting for summer and spring to come around again. So the objective is once I've got 50 active buyers in the Colorado Springs market, I go find 50 active buyers in the Phoenix market, then 50 active buyers in the Florida market. And we just kind of keep moving to different locations and perfecting this system for people to make money by flipping deals. And our timing couldn't be better. The foreclosure crisis is coming. Okay, we are definitely seeing a huge swell in the number of people who are in foreclosure right now and, dealing with that struggle in the moment. And I'm not looking to see people lose their homes, so please don't take it that way. But the reality is, unless the investors get involved, unless private investors save the market from itself by buying these assets up before they become toxic, we could very easily see a repeat of what we saw in 2007 and 2008, where houses sat on the market, it dragged the inventory levels up, and that dragged prices down, and a lot of people lost their homes that didn't need to, in addition to this, because there weren't enough private investors in the marketplace. Okay, we have a responsibility both to ourselves financially and to the market overall to change that dynamic by buying these properties, fixing them up, bringing them back to retail condition, salvaging neighborhoods, right? Putting families in beautiful homes that they really appreciate, all while making a profit doing it. So this isn't just about making money, it's about impact. And if you really feel that in your heart, if you understand that, yes, we want to make money doing this, and yes, all of this, when I did 47 flips, I literally never made more money than I made that year. Okay. And it was amazing, no doubt about it. Okay. But I also realized that neighborhoods were changed, right? Families' lives were changed. Construction workers stayed employed. Right? My staff grew, and I'm supporting families in that aspect as well. Everything about business ownership is not just self-serving. And this is a small business that anybody can start and operate with help. My help, you can start and operate your own foreclosure flipping business through the foreclosure profit system. And that's what I offer with the system. And yeah, it's expensive. It's expensive because I want to make certain that the people who get involved are serious about doing it. Right? I don't want anybody to invest money in my program to get educated about it. Education should be inexpensive, especially as it relates to real estate. But if you're actually going to do it, you're going to make an investment in the coaching, and then you're going to make an investment in a property, and that property investment is going to turn into profit, which you're then going to turn around and do again, and then do again. And I'm hoping you'll take that money and invest that in other passive, easier businesses to operate that can make you more money for the long term. This is a path to wealth that's unlike any other. We're talking about the two ways to get rich in this country come down to the stock market and real estate investing, real estate speculation, right? You look at not most wealth, but a huge percentage of the nation's wealth came from those two environments, stock market and real estate speculation or investing. Okay, buying and holding houses is not speculating. It's buying. You live in it, right? It's an asset that you live in. Buying it to sell it, the way we do, is real estate speculation, and can be very lucrative and profitable if you understand the process at a very high level. Right. So, I hope there's a takeaway from that. And I really hope that if you're watching this, either live now or you're just kind of on the fence, you're not sure if you want to do this, if it's, I'm not for you if you're not sure you want to do this. Okay. But if you're convinced that real estate is the right way to make your wealth, to build your future for your family and for a long term, then I would be honored to have a conversation with you about getting started in real estate investing, because I've done hundreds and hundreds of flips. I have all the systems in place to make it easy for you. And I got started the same way you did, by hiring a coach to help me through my first couple of deals. So I made sure I didn't make the mistakes that a bunch of people make getting started, so we could do much better over time. So with that, that's kind of our show for today. I wanted to keep it, same length as always, but guys, I'm passionate about this. I love what I do. I really hope we get an opportunity to talk. And I hope you feel my heart on this, that it isn't about the money. This is how I make my living. But I got plenty of clients. We're doing plenty of deals. Right now, for me, this is about impact, right? And the impact I can have on you is when you take that first step and understand that if you get started in this, you are going to do a deal. I don't have a timeline, right, where you get a certain amount of time where you get my coaching and then you have to pay me again. No, it's a year coaching program, but it lasts for as long as it takes for you to make a $25,000 profit. Okay, so if that takes us more than a year, so be it. We'll wait until it happens. I'm going to be here for you until it gets there, because I don't want people paying me for my advice who don't ultimately benefit from that advice. Okay. That being said, if I do make you a bunch of money and you're doing 3 to 4 deals a year, as I hope we can get you to, then I think you'll be eager to pay me for next year's coaching, because I've proven the results of what I can offer you. I got my Series 65 license to become a registered investment advisor. Okay. And though most investment advisors speak to stocks and bonds and mutual funds and things like that, I can also offer advice on that. My real passion for this business is to pay for investment advice related to alternative investments like real estate speculation, like oil and gas drilling, things of that nature. And obviously those products are not for everybody. If you don't have risk tolerance, then it's not something you should be doing. People in every type of investing lose money, but obviously the riskier the investment, the higher that is. So you need to have some money you can put aside to do some more high risk, high reward investing, because that's where the wealth is really going to come from. Your mutual fund will eventually get you there. There's no doubt. If you got 20, 30 years to wait it out, you put a little money aside, slow and steady wins the race. There's no doubt about that. Okay. However, if you're looking to get wealthy faster, then I would be honored to be on your team to help you to make a life change that can get you there much quicker by working off investments that aren't speculative, but they do require a little bit more work, right? So we are buying them right. So we're taking the speculation out of it, but now they got to get fixed and they got to get sold. And none of that process is easy or fun, but anybody can do it and make a lot of money doing it. And I certainly know that I can help you to do the same. With that, this is Donny Coram, your Foreclosure Deals Coach. Thank you so much for tuning in each and every single week to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. I appreciate it. I hope this was helpful today. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Slide in my DMs, send me a message. Let's go out and grab coffee or a beer, whatever your preference is, and see if foreclosure coaching is the right fit for your investing landscape. With that, this is Donny Coram, your Foreclosure Deals Coach, thanking you again and reminding you, don't buy a house, buy a deal.